A little tiny bird makes this a remarkable journey just using the stars and their instincts. And that's really what I like to share. It's just that each bird has a remarkable story.
Welcome to episode 53 of the LorainCounty.com Insights podcast. I'm your host, Ed Skimmon. Before we get into today's episode, I want to thank the LorainCounty.com champion sponsors for their continued support. Community Foundation of Lorain County, Lorain County Community College, Lorain County JVS, WOBL Radio, Lorain County Commissioners, and Emerge Inc. Today, we're talking with Rob Swindell, Executive Director of Black River Audubon Society. Join us as Rob talks about the organization's bird and wildlife conservation efforts, environmental education initiatives, and advocacy work in Lorain and Medina counties. He shares how bird watching apps are transforming community engagement, explores the challenges of wildlife preservation, and highlights programs like the renowned Bluebird initiative. Rob also discussed the economic and mental health benefits of birding, the Society's partnerships, and his personal journey from bird enthusiast to executive director. A few months ago, my brother's family visited from Japan. Turns out they're into birding. In addition to adding many new birds to their list, they also showed me how advanced the birding apps have become. From my conversation with Rob, I was surprised to learn how much economic impact birding brings through tourism, gear, and local programs. Lorain County is a great place for birding. Our mix of Lake Erie shoreline, wetlands, and forests puts us in a major migration path. Here's my conversation with Rob Swindell.
My name is Rob Swindell. I'm the Executive Director of Black River Audubon. I'm also the Winging It columnist for the Chronicle Telegram.
Welcome, Rob. Thanks for joining us and sharing your insights. Could you provide an overview of Black River Audubon Society and your role with the organization?
Yeah, we're an environmental nonprofit organization. We're dedicated to bird and wildlife conservation, environmental education, and nature advocacy within Lorain County. And our area goes a little bit into Medina County as well. We're a chapter of the National Audubon, and we've been here since 1958. So we've been around for a long time. My role as executive director in 2017, I wanted to see the Atlantic puffin. I got interested in birds, and Black River Audubon offered a scholarship to Hog Island. So I applied for that scholarship. 2018, I went to Hog Island and saw my puffins, and then came back and they asked me to join the board. Hard to say no at that point.
Right.
So I was a treasurer for the first 2 years into the COVID years, and then president the last 3. And then this year, we were able to hire me as an executive director.
How many members are there locally?
We have over 550 members, so we're a good-sized organization.
Can you talk a little bit about the programs and the conservation efforts offered by the Black River Audubon Society?
Our main 4 areas are conservation. We could talk a little bit more in depth about each one of these: education, advocacy, and outreach. So we look for success in 4 areas. We want to make things obviously better for birds and wildlife. We want people to experience and learn about nature and the joy of wildlife. We want to increase awareness about the dangers for birds and wildlife and what they go through. We hope all of this will inspire people to make a difference and influence their decisions that they make.
How has the explosion of bird watching apps changed birding?
It's been really wonderful to have that accessibility. People are in love with the Merlin app and the sound ID, so they could take that outside, turn on the sound ID, and then any of the bird songs get recorded and people get to see what's around them. So a lot of times you can see the birds, a lot of times you can't see the birds, and people love going in their backyard, just turn the app on and really surprised at how many different types of birds are around. But you could also use the same app to help identify birds. You see a bird you don't recognize, you could take a photo of it, stick it in the app, and it'll give you the likely outcome of what it is.
What's the most unique bird you've seen?
One of my favorite birds to see was the American dipper out in Colorado, because it's the only bird that can swim underwater. We searched for that thing for a couple hours. It's just a tiny little bird, and then finally we came across it just about really when we were ready to give up. So that was really fun because we put the effort into seeing it.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about your conservation efforts?
Being a bird is really hard. Birds came around long before there were cars, before there was glass. A lot of them were hunted to extinction. The rapid loss of habitat they've suffered, the impact of non-native plants and animals, particularly domestic cats, plastic pollution, pesticides, climate change. So it's really rough to be a bird. One of the things we do is our conservation programs. We're probably best known for our Bluebird program. It's one of the best in the state. We're usually in the top 3 in terms of fledglings that we get out every year. We have a retired couple in Amherst, Penny and Fritz Brandow, who just do an amazing job with this program. We also work with purple martins. We installed 2 Motus towers last year. These are used for bird tracking, so we can track the data when birds migrate through the area and give that to researchers. We have a small park in Black River in Elyria called Black River Audubon. And then we do things like donate money to wildlife rehab centers. We help support Lake Erie Nature and Science Area, Back to the Wilds, Medina Raptor Center. So we try to help birds that have been injured in that way.
Can you talk a little bit about why Black River Audubon Society is important to the broader Lorain County community?
One of the things people don't realize is how much economic benefit birding brings to the area and to the country as a whole. It's very popular. The recent report came up with 96 million birders in the United States. So that's almost 37%. So almost 1 in 3 adults pays attention to birds. That results in $107 billion annually. And these expenditures support 1.4 million people in the workforce and about $40 million in local, state, and federal taxes. So it's a really big economic benefit. And then it's also, on the flip side, is a really big mental health benefit. Being out in nature helps reduce stress, anxiety, even depression. It just improves your overall well-being.
What's a common misconception people have about wildlife conservation?
We face a lot of pressures from development, and that's natural. A lot of politicians, they're looking for economic development. And of course, we support responsible economic development. But a lot of times politicians promise us, they get elected, and then they move forward with a big project. And then all of a sudden, somebody realizes that the project's going to be in their backyard, and they're going to tear off the woods. And then they call us, and by then it's way too late. So I think just understanding that conservation is a broad subject, that everything we do in terms of voting or actions plays a big role, not just the local level, but through the national levels with things with climate change and plastic.
What's something people don't normally know about Black River Audubon Society that you'd want them to know?
People don't realize how diverse we are in some of the things we do, in particular our education programs. We have monthly programs 9 times a year. We hold those mostly at the metro parks in Carlisle. So we bring in a speaker and they talk about a different subject every month. We have a social afterwards. We also do an outstanding speaker where we bring in a national expert from all over the country. We do that in March. We have field trips throughout Lorain County in Northeast Ohio. Recently, the last 4 years, we've gone to Minnesota. We've led a van trip out there. And then in September, we're really excited. We're going to Costa Rica. And then we're hoping to go to Mexico in the fall. So we do that. And then the scholarships I mentioned, we offer that to teens and adults. So we're really busy in terms of the diversity of things we do.
You mentioned Lorain County Metro Parks. Who are some of your other partners?
Western Reserve Land Conservancy, we work with them. They have the beautiful Oberlin Preserve. We help support a little bit of the maintenance there. We're also working with them to help preserve an area called Wellington Woods. They're in a process of closing on that. We also work with surf riders, partner to do some beach cleanups. As I mentioned, the wildlife rehab centers.
What's the source of funding for the organization?
We get a little bit from national, that they support all their chapters with a modest amount. We do grants, small grants generally, the donations from our members and our membership fees. We're lucky that we're largely supported by a large endowment that one of the founders left for us. So that's really been a big help to enable our impact in the community.
What trends do you see in wildlife protection that are shaping the organization?
It's unfortunate because it goes back and forth. We get one administration comes in and they tighten up some of the protections, and then the next administration comes in and they change them and loosen them. It's just a constant battle back and forth. We're worried about things like the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. There's a thing called incidental take, where all migratory birds are protected. But if an industry is going in and they're putting in a new facility, then they can incidentally take birds that would normally be protected. So these things change back and forth. One administration will strengthen the protections, other ones will loosen the protections.
What do you see as the biggest challenges related to wildlife conservation that are specific to Lorain County?
The development, again, we absolutely support economic development. We just want them to be cognitive of certain areas that are more important than perhaps other areas. We have what we call important bird areas, and those are the only ones that we really advocately work to protect. Mostly they follow the Black River and the Vermilion River. Just be cautious. If there's another place we could put something, that would be great.
What did I not ask that you would want to share about the organization?
I think to share how cool some of the birds are. I think that's really part of it, is just trying to understand or care about what these birds go through. One of my favorite birds is called a black-polled warbler. And he comes from Central America or South America, flies every spring like a lot of birds do, migrates. They might stop in Florida, refuel. might come up to Ohio, land at the Lorain impound, refuel again, cross the lake, and then it goes through its breeding season in Upper Canada or Alaska. And then every fall, it has to go back down to South America. And it makes this a remarkable journey where it flies all the way to the East Coast, and then it does this amazing 3-day nonstop trip over the Atlantic Ocean. And it's just really hard to imagine a 3-ounce little tiny bird makes this trip without stopping, a 12,000-mile migration.
And without Google Maps.
Without Google Maps, just using the stars and their instincts. And so I think that's really what I like to share. It's just that each bird has a remarkable story. A couple of years ago, actually, as COVID was hitting, we went to Nebraska for the sandhill crane migration. And every spring, up to 1 million sandhill cranes stop in Nebraska. Same thing as a stopover location with a chance to refuel. They go into the cornfields, and all the little pieces of corn that were left from the farmers, they go and feed on that, stay there for a week, and then they make that migration to their breeding grounds. So every bird kind of has their story. It's just fun learning about what they go through.
Let's switch over and talk a little bit about you. What's your background and what led you to this role?
I've had a diverse and long winding road. I grew up in North Eaton, Grafton area, went to Midview. We had a small farm. I was always interested in sports. So I went to, it was actually in college at that time. I had a baseball scholarship and majored in math. That was my best subject at the time. But I ended up, again, the long way around, graduating from Baldwin Wallace with a degree in environmental science on the racquetball team. And so after that, eventually I went back and got my MBA. And then I got my law degree from Concord Law School, which is now part of Purdue University. In between, I got my license in healthcare administration for nursing homes, and then worked at the Alcohol and Drug Board for 10 years. So that health background is what I used at law school. So when I went to law school, health law was my focus. So coming back to birds and nature is like full circle. And I've always been pretty involved in the community. I coached baseball at 4 different high schools. I've written for the Chronicle for a number of years. My parents had small businesses growing up, and I did 150 small business stories for the Chronicle, which I really enjoyed. It's a special place in my heart for all the work that small businesses do. That was really fun going out in the community and meeting all the people that were starting businesses.
In the time you've been with Black River Audubon Society, what are you most proud of accomplishing?
We've really worked hard the last 6 years, and I think we've transformed the organization. I think we're a little bit more of a social organization, and now we're a little bit more of a mission-driven organization. I've asked a lot of our board. We put together a 5-year strategic plan last year, and of course, hired an executive director. We've really expanded our budget with the impact of the endowment as well.
Going forward, what would you still like to accomplish?
My big goal yet is a physical location for Black River Audubon. Right now, we still move things from every event to the next. So it's loading up the van, going, having a program, coming back up, taking stuff to fairs and festivals. So it's a lot of work. So I would love to have a physical location where we can have all of our membership meetings and our board meetings. Also have a library and a nature store, and just make it like a nice nature center that the community can enjoy.
Outside of work, what are your hobbies and interests, and how do they help recharge you?
I love when you ask this question because almost everybody says nature, and we're like, yes, that's the right answer.
Right.
So of course, nature. My wife and I enjoy traveling, not only birds, but history and culture. We like the same things. I've also always loved dogs. I was involved in greyhound rescue before Black River Audubon. We got a new rescue from Fido's companion, Henry, so I enjoy spending time with him. And then I also enjoy writing. I've been working on a book for a few years that I hope to finish this year. It's called Pigs, Pit Bulls, and the Passenger Opinion. And it's a reflection of humans and the way we treat animals. So animals are definitely at the heart of everything I do.
Finally, where can people get more information about Black River Audubon Society and connect with you?
Our website, blackriver.audubon.org, has everything there. We also connect through Facebook, and we send out monthly emails for our subscriber list. So we send those out once or twice a month.
Thanks, Rob, for joining us and sharing your insights.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the LorainCounty.com Insights podcast. Each episode, we share conversations with the people shaping life in Lorain County, from business and government to education, nonprofits, healthcare, and entertainment. Be sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. You can also visit LorainCounty.com to discover local events, volunteer opportunities, and more community resources. If you know someone who's making a difference in Lorain County, send us a note at podcast@loraincounty.com. We would love to share their story and insights. Special thanks to our producer, Leah Gerke, and to you for listening. This has been the LorainCounty.com Insights podcast, conversations with the people shaping Lorain County.